Welcome to Animal Notebook. Today, we've got a brand new explainer for you, and we're diving into one of Earth's absolutely most powerful and honestly beautifully complex predators. I mean, think about it. Humans are so captivated by this animal that we literally slap them on our cereal boxes, sports logos, and energy drinks. We are, of course, talking about the tiger. Let's get right into Tiger, the Twilight tracker. While digging through the research for this, I found this incredible analogy from one of our sources that just hit the nail on the head. It says, nature built these things like silent forklifts with teeth. I mean, wow, right? It perfectly captures that terrifying blend of massive, heavy lifting strength mixed with just absolute pin-drop stealth. It's a predator engineered by evolution for maximum efficiency. So here's how we're breaking down today's explainer. We'll start with the anatomy of an apex predator, move into shadows of the jungle, take a look at the global tiger family, discuss their fight for the future, and then wrap it all up with your top 4 tiger FAQs. All right, part 1, anatomy of an apex predator. Let's really unpack the biological engineering going on under the hood of this magnificent beast. Scientifically known as Panthera tigris, these cats are pretty much the absolute pinnacle of predatory evolution. They're the largest extant, which just means currently living, cat species in the whole world. And while they belong to the genus Panthera, making them close cousins with lions, leopards, jaguars, and snow leopards, the tiger really stands in a league of its own when we're talking about sheer physical dominance. The most crucial thing to grasp here is their sheer scale. Get this. Adult male tigers can weigh up to a staggering 660 pounds and stretch up to 10 feet long from their nose to the tip of their tail. To put that into perspective, just imagine an animal carrying the weight of a heavy motorcycle, but moving around with the terrifying agility of your house cat. Yeah, it's wild. And going hand in hand with that massive muscular build is, of course, their iconic orange coat. But those dark, vertical stripes against the orange-brown fur and white underside, they aren't just for show. They actually act as the perfect camouflage out in the wild. The pattern totally breaks up the tiger's outline, making them practically invisible when they're hiding in tall grass or blending into the forest shadows. Now, if you're going to be a successful apex predator, you absolutely need the right tools. And tigers, they are heavily armed. We're talking razor-sharp retractable claws for gripping prey and climbing. Canine teeth that can literally grow up to 3 inches long, backed by a bite force specifically engineered for crushing. And the real kicker, the thing that makes them the ultimate Twilight trackers, is their incredible night vision. It's roughly 6 times better than human eyesight. There is no way you're hiding from that in the dark. Moving right along to part 2, shadows of the jungle. Let's see how all of this incredible anatomy translates into their actual day-to-day hunting routines. Being strict carnivores, tigers are the ultimate ambush predators. They use this terrifyingly efficient 3-step sequence. First up, patience. They rely on their camouflage to stalk their prey completely silently. Then, out of nowhere, they rapidly close the distance with a sudden burst of speed. We're talking up to 40 miles per hour here. And finally, they deliver a fatal bite right to the neck or throat. It is so brutally effective that a single tiger can consume 80 to 100 pounds of meat in just one sitting, regularly taking down massive animals like deer, wild boar, and even water buffalo. All right, part 3, the global tiger family. Now that we've really zoomed in on the individual hunter, let's take a step back and look at the living subspecies scattered across the globe. So, there are 4 main tiger subspecies you definitely need to know. First, you've got the Amur, often called the Siberian tiger. These guys live out in the freezing, snowy taiga regions of eastern Russia. They're actually the largest of all the subspecies, rocking this incredibly thick fur to stay warm. Next up is the Bengal tiger. Found mostly in India and Nepal, this is the most numerous group by far. Then, deep in the remote forests of Southeast Asia, you'll find the Indo-Chinese tiger. And finally, over on the Indonesian island of Sumatra, we have the critically endangered Sumatran tiger, which is a bit smaller and known for its super dense dark stripes. Which brings us to part 4, fight for the future. Sadly, despite all their strength and adaptability, we really need to talk about the severe ecological threats these magnificent creatures are facing today. The historical contrast here is just absolutely stark. Look, tigers used to range broadly across a huge chunk of Asia, from Russia way down through India and all across Southeast Asia. But today, the current reality is that they have lost over 90% of their original historical territory. And yeah, that's almost entirely due to human impact. Because of this massive loss, they are officially categorized as endangered by the IUCN. Right now, there are only about 5,500 estimated to be left in the wild. Think about that. Just 5,500. They are literally battling for survival against severe habitat fragmentation, heavy poaching for the illegal wildlife trade, and, frequent conflicts with humans as our territories increasingly overlap. Actually, one of the sources we analyzed pointed out kind of a grim irony here. Humanity spends centuries destroying these habitats, and then we hold big conferences about how to save them. It's an incredibly complex situation. Okay, moving to part 5. Top 4 tiger FAQs. To wrap up our explainer today, let's tackle your absolute top 4 frequently asked questions about tiger biology and behavior to clear up some of those common misconceptions. First up, FAQ number 1. I see this one all the time. Are white tigers a completely separate, independent species from the orange tigers we usually see? The answer is a definitive no. White tigers are definitely not a separate species. They are simply Bengal tigers that have a super rare genetic condition. That's what gives them that stunning white fur, dark stripes, and bright blue eyes. In fact, pretty much all the white tigers you see in captivity today are just the result of intentional selective breeding. Moving right along to question 2, do tigers live and roam the grasslands in tight-knit family prides, kind of like lions do? Well, unlike lions, tigers are highly solitary and fiercely territorial animals. They claim these massive individual home ranges, and they mark them up with scent and deep tree scratches just to warn off any intruders. Honestly, the only time they really ever come together is for mating or when a mom is raising her cubs for those first couple of years. Although, here's a really fun fact from our research. When they do bump into each other, they sometimes communicate with this friendly little chuffing sound they make by blowing air through their nose. I guess even apex predators need a socially acceptable way to say hello, right? Okay, question 3. Considering most domestic house cats will absolutely freak out if you put them near water, can large cats like tigers actually swim? Oh, absolutely they can. Bengal tigers in particular are excellent swimmers. They are so much more comfortable in the water than pretty much any other feline species. They'll confidently navigate wide rivers, take baths just to cool off from that heavy jungle heat, and get this, some of them will even swim several miles just to hunt down a meal. And that brings us to our final FAQ, number 4. Just how unique are those iconic black stripes from one tiger to the next? Well, it turns out that no two tigers have the exact same pattern. None. They're literally just like human fingerprints, totally unique to the individual animal. And amazingly, their camouflage runs way deeper than you'd think. If you were to somehow shave a tiger, which, please don't, you would actually find that the skin underneath all that fur is perfectly striped too. Mind blown, right? Because tigers sit right at the top of the food chain, they actually regulate prey populations and keep their entire ecosystems in perfect balance. Basically, their survival dictates forest health. A thriving tiger population means a healthy, biodiverse forest. So as we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with a question to really think about. Knowing all of this, what steps will humanity take to ensure the Twilight tracker doesn't fade into the dark forever? Thanks so much for hanging out with us here on Animal Notebook, and as always, keep your curiosity wild.